Hello everyone, welcome to the Yahn Planetarium at Penn State Behrend. My name is Jim Gavio, and I'm here to give you the update in the night sky for September. So as always, let's take a look at our Sky Gazer program. And we will start with 7:30 p.m. The sun is about to go down. We're looking over in the western sky. The sun is about to set, and we can see the planet Mercury. But Mercury is always a tough planet to see. It looks like a small dot in the night sky. And we, of course, have a lot of light from the sunset. This makes sense, of course, because Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. But a lot of people like to really try hard to find Mercury if they can. Now, as we go a little bit later into the evening, you can see it does get darker. That's the good news. The bad news is Mercury is setting very low. So if you want to try to find Mercury, I would recommend going to the peninsula and out on the beaches somewhere, and you can see the horizon where it meets the water, and that would be your best chance. All right, let's go ahead later into the night to about 9 and maybe even just a little bit after 9, because we have some other planets to look for. And we will move to the southern sky. In the southern sky, we have Jupiter and Saturn, which we've been talking about all summer. So I hope you had a chance to look at those, even just to look up, with your eyes, just to see those two planets. But if you have a small telescope, I would encourage you to even try to look at Jupiter and Saturn, and maybe you'll see some of the larger moons going around Jupiter. Maybe you'll see the rings of Saturn. They won't be like the pictures you see in a magazine somewhere, but the fact that you're able to see those with your own eyes is just amazing. Pluto is listed there once again, but we won't see that. We need a really nice telescope to see that one. There we have Neptune, but I want to point out Mars. Mars is rising at about 9 o'clock, but again, it's right on the horizon, so you need to wait a little bit longer for it to rise and get higher in the sky. The higher these planets are, the clearer, the better they will look in your telescope. Let's go all the way around to the northern sky here. And as always, we like to point out the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. So here we have the Big Dipper that I'm drawing out. You can see it there with the lines connecting those stars together. But there's also more here. We have what's known as Ursa Major, or the Big Bear. So I encourage you to try to look for the Big Bear. Once you find the Big Dipper first, look for a few extra stars that make the legs. You can see those here. And maybe we could even call that, even though it doesn't reach all the way up to his nose, when we see it in the night sky, maybe we could imagine that as the nose of the bear. You can see the front legs and the back legs. Now, as always, we take the two stars on the end of the cup of the Big Dipper, draw a straight line across the sky until we hit Polaris, our North Star, and then we draw the Little Dipper. And the Little Dipper is in the Little Bear, but the Little Bear is very difficult to see in the night sky. You need a whole bunch of stars to fill that in and have it make sense. So that's a tough one. All right, let's go all the way around to the southern sky. And here again, I've mentioned Scorpius, the scorpion, in previous talks, but he's starting to disappear on us. He's starting to get very low in the sky, but you can still see him. All right, then let's jump over to Sagittarius, another popular zodiac constellation. Half man, half horse. He's an archer shooting a bow and arrow. Now, Scorpius and Sagittarius are to the right of Jupiter and Saturn, because you will no doubt see those in the night sky. So if you look to the right, you'll see Sagittarius and Scorpius. If you move over to the left of Jupiter and Saturn, then you see Capricorn. Capricorn is known as the sea goat. And you can see why. He has a tail of a fish and the head of a goat. But what we see outside would look more like this odd-shaped triangle. If we connect and put a line down here, we can make a triangle in the sky. Kind of a weird-shaped one, though. All right, we like to say it looks like a shoe or a boot. Up here, we'd have your ankle, your toes, the bottom of your shoe, and then up the back. If we move over to the eastern sky once again, we see Mars where it was down low on the horizon. But let's go later into the night. We can see Uranus rising. We can see the Seven Sisters or the Pleiades there. You see Alcuin. We have other winter constellations now coming up after midnight. The only one I'm going to mention is Orion the Hunter, just to let you know that if you want to see Orion, because he is so popular, that you'll have to get up at, let's just say 3 in the morning so that he's above the horizon and above any trees. All right, but we'll talk more about these winter constellations as we get into winter. There we have Venus rising at about 4 in the morning, maybe it gets above the trees. But then as we move ahead to sunrise, we'll stop again at about 7 a.m. and we have the sun about to rise. There we have the moon on the morning of September 16th. So maybe you'll get a look at those if you're up early. All right, so I hope you get a chance to go out and look at these objects in the night sky. Once again, my name is Jim Gavio from the Yahn Planetarium at Penn State Behrend.